rightly said, we're close to 5 to 8%. Even other countries, even in Africa here, everywhere else in the world are not doing as low as this. So the question or the issue really is that we must do something about it. And what I want to assure you this afternoon is that you have my full support, with the full support of the office, to see what we can do to ensure that as we go into 2019, 2019 will be a year that will change the level of participation of women. The challenge we have is that such an action is something that is collective. We, all myself individually and my colleagues, will champion it, but it's something that requires all of us both to work very hard for it to happen. I believe that what we will do is to make it clear that it must happen. It has to happen. And it's the interest of this country for it to happen. And we reassure those that have fears of it that there are nothing to be worried about. It will only strengthen our democracy and make our country better. As you rightly said, there are issues, both social, sometimes cultural, sometimes religious, that are there. And I think our role and our responsibility is to see how we carry everybody along. And I keep on saying, this is something that we cannot, it's like when you sometimes review the Constitution, you cannot force, you cannot bully it to happen. It only has to be by all of us agreeing for it to happen. And in doing that, we have to be strategic, we have to be dogmatic, and we have to be very firm making it happen. So let me really express your courage and your determination. And I'm convinced that definitely your visit is timely, that in this 2019, we must make a difference. We must see the real change in this area. Number of issues before us, I believe, for example, I know one of the key issues, of course, is the gender equality bill, that I know you will have had it quicker and faster than this. But I believe when this kind of major issues are being done, sometimes it looks as if it is taking longer than expected. But I believe that at the end of the day, it's the result that matters. And I think it's important that we ensure that every part of the country has that understanding. I always say that in legislation, sometimes, as you all know, you might go in with 10, 15 requests in a bill, but sometimes you negotiate and see, because it doesn't begin and end there. It's something you do in steps and strides. Get where we get to a point, and I think everybody is on board on this issue of gender affirmation of 35%, and we must strive to see that that happens in both in the area of appointment and elective as much as possible. What some of us will continue to do is to live by examples and continue to see that others too will do the same. I think at that point, let me commend your group, and because some of the work you are doing, the advocacy, your commitment is very important, and I want to commend all the work that you're all doing in this area. And we must continue to support more women groups in this area to continue to go around and push. Political parties are now gearing up for election. This is the right time where we must begin to demand on political parties and demand on candidates when it's time to vote. They must tell us Nigerians what their policy is on the issue of gender affirmation. You have the vote, as you have shown. You have at least 46, 48%. Then let your vote do the work. And I think that if your vote does the work, then you make the work easier for all of us. It's time for you also to work and mobilize for it. It's something that we do, because it is important. A lot of us who have had the experience have found out that without any bias, that generally you find out that female politicians, parliamentarians are very committed, they are hardworking, and more importantly, they're very, very consistent and very loyal. And I think when you build a country and you build a political space, what is important is consistency and sometimes loyalties. We men do somersaults too much. You say something in the morning, By the evening time for Maghrib, we're saying something else. By the following morning, we're saying something else. Those are not that build a good country or strengthen a good country. So definitely the qualities that exist is a quality that is even good for our democracy, to see more and more gender participation. So let me thank you for coming. Let me assure you that you are already talking to those of us that believe that we must strengthen gender participation. Once we set that gender participation, then the other issues that come after it, you will be in the room to decide those issues. Unfortunately, at the moment, you are not even in the room. So for those of you, I always say, let's be strategic, not reach for everything and not get any. Reach for the ones that we can get now. And I think that, as I always say, Rome was not built in a day. So once again, I thank you for coming, and I wish you all the best.
And we are a very strong group advocating for inclusion of women in elective and appointive positions in the country. You will agree with me that the diminishing effect of women participation in politics is even affecting the growth and development of Nigeria. And until women, there is a deliberate attempt by those policymakers or those who are in charge to make sure that women are given, are allowed, given free hands, free playing ground to contest and win election, and we have equal number of women and men in decision making, we will not improve in this slow space of development of Nigeria. So we are going around advocacy, talking to powers that be, talking to the gatekeepers, talking to the politicians, the political parties, the leaders of political parties, so that in 2019, it will not be business as usual. In the houses where you have about 24 members, we should be able to have 12 men and 12 women in the states.
What are you expecting in 2019?
That's what I'm telling you now. Equal number of women and men participation in all spheres, whether state assemblies or national assemblies, whether ministers or appointed positions, it should be equal number of men and women.
What are some of the challenges you face in your day-to-day activities in the parents' houses?
Well, the challenge we face is, one, we have few number of women in almost all the houses. So when women issues, children issues, other issues that will benefit the families come on board, our votes cannot make the difference because we are not many. So this is one of the challenges. But that notwithstanding, we try to do our best as much as we can. Another challenge is that all the bills that are women-oriented, no one has been passed because we have fewer number of women. So all this we must strategize to change the tide.
We need greater political will from the policymakers, from the lawmakers, to be able to achieve the 35% affirmative action. And that's why we are here. Politicking has started now. And if we don't come now, before you know it, the men will take all the positions and they will leave us behind. A lot of us have done 3-4 times in the Houses of Assembly. We want to move up to the next level too. Of course. We are great planners, we are great thinkers, we are articulate, we are composed, we are focused, we are mothers. We want to grow Nigerian nation. We are not interested in corruption or destruction. We want to grow Nigerian nation. And that is why the conference of all Nigerian female state parliamentarians are here to let the Senate President know our mind. My name is Honorable Titilayo Owolabi Akerele, Ekiti State House of Assembly. Thank you.
I'm Right Honorable Mrs. Elizabeth Onyeme Ativie, the chairperson, Conference of Female Parliamentarians across the 6 states of the Federation. Thank you.
they will look for your no for
Speaker da kamar ita.